Welcome back. Today we're talking about No Sir, I Want to Go to Jail. And this is a description or a depiction of the very first screen of the presentation of the annual meeting this year, the 2023 annual meeting of Jehovah's Witnesses. So for those of you that have seen this, they started the whole annual meeting out with a song. And the song is an anthem. It's an anthem. It's like a national anthem. And it's like all the young people are pledging allegiance to the Jehovah's Witness governing body. So let's get right into it and see what this looks like. I thought this looked like what we have here on the World War II. The woman, in Times Square, the kiss photo, the famous one. And that's what I think that we have with the Watchtower. It's they're romancing the whole going to jail scene. And so we're going to take a look at their video here and how it romances going to war. Or going to jail. It's like going to war, and they actually play like an anthem. We sing to Jehovah. That's kind of the thing. We all know the song as Jehovah's Witnesses, but the way they did it here, and the way they threw in these images is just blows your mind. Now let's get right into it here. I'm going to get off the screen here, and get this all set up for you. Okay, so we went right back to the first scene here, and the first scene is about a young man saying, no, I'm not going to accept military service in the country. Now, I thought this was conscientious now, but this looks like what they're pushing here right out the gate. So let's go on, let's carry on. He goes to jail. Okay, that's the prison. So he's being brought to jail here. And we go along. He meets some buddies in jail. So there's some of his other buddies there. And then here they become heroes. You see their faces are on the watchtower. If you go into JW.org right now, and we don't have time to, but you can, and you type in Russia, they'll show all these heroes right there. And these are different heroes. You see, they portray these young men as heroes. And then they write love letters to their girlfriends, and they get letters back and encouragement. And these are all the governing body and elders and stuff, branch managers, and they're all behind them. And the Bible, they get to have little Bible studies. They make it look like that, right? Well, up in the Canadian prisons, yes. U.S. prisons, yes. This is Russia, folks. Oh, it's nice. Everyone's waving to you. Oh, everyone's waving. You get to see them on TV. Oh, and everyone's there, and you get hooked in, and the whole congregation, you get tied in. All you guys have a little congregation in prison. Everyone's praying for you. Oh, and we're going to go to court. Brother Sanderson's going to court. He's going to stand up for us. He is going to fight. He has Jehovah behind him. And we're all meeting outside the courthouse. We're all there for you. Brother Sanderson's our hero. And you get hauled off. You see, there you go. You get hauled off. And you're hauled off to prison. But let's back this up. This brother here, let's get his face. He is a hero. There he is. He's a hero. He's smiling. He's so happy to be arrested, this brother. So happy. So the bad guards, the bad policemen are taking him to jail. And we have a little meeting all about it and give an experience. And everyone's crying and, just such a hero. And this is in Korea where all the young brothers had to go to jail because they wouldn't go to the army. And this is in Russia, and everyone's outside Russia. It's snow on the ground, and everyone's meeting and hugging because they all got out of prison, and it's just great. There are heroes. You see, it's like they fought for the country. It's like these these martyrs, because they're really martyrs. They're cowards. Let's face it. The Bible says in Romans 13, verse 1, to support the superior authorities in every country, for good and bad, but mostly for good, is what it says. And that's a study within itself, but it's easy. You read that. Every country, they want you to serve some military time in a lot of these countries. Why are these young people martyrs? So what we want to show you folks here is that there's another side to this story. So just hang in here. I wanted to take a little bit and just show you what it's like, what it's really like in the Russian prisons. We're just going to play a bit of this video, and I'm going to leave the link in the descriptions so you can click in there and watch it yourself. It's an 11-minute video. We're going to play a couple of minutes of it here.
Are like. While overcrowding and abuse were rampant years ago, have conditions improved at all in recent years? Here's what life in a Russian prison is really like. Russia has the largest prison population in Europe and ranks 17th worldwide, according to the Center for Eastern Studies. Today, there are roughly 321 inmates per 100,000 of the national population, according to prison studies. For perspective, America's prison population peaked between 2006 and 2008 at 1,000 inmates per 100,000, according to the Pew Research Center. Out of more than 464,000 prisoners housed in Russian facilities, foreign prisoners make up 6.2% of the population, and 8.3% of all prisoners are female. Radio Free Europe reports Russian prisoners have faced dire circumstances related to overcrowding in the 21st century. At its worst, in the early 2000s, inmate personal space amounted to little more than a coffin's worth, and inmates had to take turns sitting and lying on bunks. Although the government has slashed the prison population by more than half since 2000, too many bodies remain crammed in tight spaces, and you can wind up in these tight spaces for a variety of reasons. Summer 2021 demonstrations for the imprisoned Alexei Navalny, Russian opposition leader and anti-corruption activist, took place across the nation, resulting in thousands of arrests for, quote, illegal demonstrations. By August, more than 800 protesters still sat behind bars. Inmates in Russian prisons are surrounded by chronic illness. Diseases abound, including AIDS and hepatitis, which can prove fatal over the long haul. They also lead to a general deterioration in the quality of life both before and after prison. But potential disease dangers don't end there. According to the Newsline People AIDS Coalition, more than 100,000 individuals in the prison system have tuberculosis, and thousands of these inmates have drug-resistant versions of the illness. In one 2-year period, roughly 20,000 prisoners died from TB. Reuters paints an even grimmer picture, claiming that nearly half of all inmates in Russia's prison system are sick, with HIV as the biggest culprit. Statistics from 2010 claim that of the 846,000 prisoners in the system at that time, approximately 55,000 had AIDS, 40,000 prisoners suffered from tuberculosis, and 15,000 had syphilis. Finally, 67,500 inmates reported mental health issues. To make matters worse, human rights advocates argue that the Russian prison system underreports the number of sick prisoners. While gaining access to more accurate statistics proves challenging, Nikolai Krivolapov of Russia's Federal Penitentiary Service told journalists, quote, "The big picture remains abysmal."
Here's one thing you need to do before...
Known for cutting-edge technology or posh amenities. Most date from before the 1970s, and many go all the way back to the Russian Empire. The result can lead to subhuman conditions for prisoners. According to the Archive of European Integration, it's hard for inmates to maintain basic hygiene because the prisons are in disrepair and worsened by overcrowding. Lack of clean facilities exacerbates the likelihood of contracting deadly diseases. According to one former inmate of Colony Number 14 in Moldova, Svetlana Bakhmina, she lived with 100 female inmates who were only permitted to shower once a week. Many resorted to covertly drawing water from prison radiators to wash during the week. If caught, they faced punishment. Bakhmina also described a lack of adequate toilet facilities, claiming only one toilet served her barracks and it didn't work, so inmates resorted to using an outhouse. An op-ed by Olga Romanova, reporting for the Moscow Times, argues that this obsolete infrastructure has its origins in the Gulag system, but corruption today has exacerbated the problem in new ways because
That's all I'm going to run on the program here. So as you can see, if you're sending your children, Watchtower people, if you're sending your children to prison to stand up for the Watchtower, I think it's a big mistake. It's a lot worse. Well, the Watchtower will never tell you that this is what it's like in the prisons. The Watchtower paints this movie, this Hollywood movie-like picture of what it's like for these young people to go to prison. So, folks, that's all I have for you on this news.